All right, Ernie, if you're going to be the audience member of this episode, you're going to have to earn it, okay? You're going to have to earn it. So I want to introduce Tom here. We're going to practice. I'm going to introduce Tom here, and you're going to cheer.
Oh, okay.
Yay.
All right. Now introducing Tom Chatfield.
Yay!
That's horrible. Do it again.
That's terrible,
You
man.
gotta actually put some effort into it.
Effort.
Don't be a row and just buy things on Amazon in the background. Yeah, I'm calling you out, Ro.
Apparently I'm missing some long-standing jokes here or something.
Yeah. All right. Again. Now introducing Tom Chatfield.
Yay!
All right, that's better.
Much better.
You want to say cue the music?
Cue the music.
Hello, Don't Evolve Me fans. This is your host, Jake Scherbing, and I've been butchering this way too much, so Tom, take it away.
So, just like Ash Ketchum's Pikachu, we don't evolve, we just level up.
And this is Tom Chatfield.
Yay. There was much rejoicing.
Well done, sir.
All right, Tom, welcome. This is
Hey.
your episode.
Hey, awesome.
I literally just labeled this Don't Evolve Me Tom. Tom's episode. And it's all, I didn't know what else to call it.
I feel a little bit honored, honestly.
Though this is more like the video game love nostalgia episode.
Absolutely.
Are we going nostalgic on this?
Oh, we're going very nostalgic. I guess I didn't send you the outline at
Yeah,
all.
we're going all the
And we
all
have
the details.
audience member Ernie Green. Ernie Green.
I got you, dog. Ernie, I hope they kill Cassie Gardner.
Thank you.
That's right, I did listen to that episode. Ernie Gardner hates kids and wants them to die.
Yeah, his favorite movie is Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith.
I do.
You used to. This
But
man,
I killed all of them.
this man works with children, people.
I never thought of it like that, Lisa.
I mean, he hasn't been caught yet, so I mean, it hasn't shown up on his background check. So
It's true. I passed the background.
There's a difference between want and doing, though. There's a difference between cheering for it in the movies and doing it.
true.
One's sickening, one's just criminal. All right.
I mean, both not sick.
Anyway, let's start with a new segment that I noticed you haven't quite. Anyway, show me your socks.
Show me
Tom,
your
what type of
socks.
socks do you have on?
So I mean, they're black with little gray. So I heard that we all like to show socks, but I, oddly enough, don't have any socks that are nerdy. So I brought one of my favorite nerd shirts that I got right here.
Nice.
So this is from Warhammer 40K.
Want to read what it says?
Yeah, it says "Avenge Me, brother." So have you guys ever watched Flash Gets on YouTube?
Mm-mm.
So they do a lot of Flash animations, and they also play 40K and stuff like that. So it's kind of like two niches within a niche right there. 40K is already kind of niche. But the main reason I bought this and liked this so much is because this is actually one of the main armies that I play. It's Black Templar.
Nice.
So Flash Gets made a series now where the Black Templar are going on a holy crusade, ridding the universe of the furries. So yeah, this is from their very first episode, where a giant furry picks him up and shoves him in a godly spot. So I highly recommend it. Flash Gets, if anybody's interested in that.
This is like a deep cut nerd t-shirt.
Oh.
I like it.
Yeah, no, I mean this
Deep cut.
this one's got layers. This one's got layers to it.
Maybe I should just change the segment to "Show me what you're wearing."
I mean that could be misconstrued, but I mean I'm down.
It can be very misconstrued. We got a news quickie and "Show me what you're wearing." Yeah, that's why I went with "Show me your socks." All right, Ernie, what socks do you got on?
I got on the SpongeBob's today. Y'all can never see it. You gotta get some cameras, man, dude.
I am working on it. It's the next thing on the buy list.
I'm gonna come a foot model. SpongeBob, nice and easy today. One of my
Nice.
favorite stuff.
Here's the thing. I pulled the Tom and I went black socks today, and then someone showed me their nerdy socks during work. They had some nice Star Wars Rebels and some R2D2 socks,
Oh, cool.
and I freaked out. I was like, "It's Friday. Where's my nerdy socks? Why am I wearing black socks?" So I changed.
You gotta
So
name drop them. Who were they?
I can't. Yeah, for obvious
okay.
reasons.
All right, we got it.
So for my socks, I went with Reptar. I was trying to find my video game Mario socks, and I couldn't find like matching pairs. So I went with Reptar.
I like that.
I mean, Rugrats classic, baby.
Very much so. All right. Next segment. What are you nerding out to lately? Who wants to lead this out?
I guess I'll take it, since, I guess it's my episode.
It is.
It's Tom's episode,
It's
right?
Tom's episode.
So,
I was
yay!
gonna say Tom's episode.
All right, hey, you know what? I'll
Hey,
take
you're
it.
the audience.
I need all the fluffing I can get, Ernie. I got a fragile ego. So right now, I've actually the last 3 weeks have been painting super heavily for my Warhammer 40k army because
Nice.
we got a invitational actually tomorrow morning at 9:30
Nice.
at Chaska or in Chaska down at the Forge.
Okay.
So it's the Lord of Wars Invitational. They're a big 40k club, which sounds weird that they actually have clubs for really nerdy stuff, but they do. And these guys are like legit.
Yeah.
So like they actually like make you be a probate and stuff like that. And
Okay.
you have to like comment and like do so many games and like all these sort of things like that.
This is like an actual tournament, or
Yeah, so it's an invitational. So it's basically them and anybody that they like.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
then they just kind of, it's actually mainly just an excuse to like cater in some food, buy a bunch of beer, and then play a bunch of games of 40k.
Nice.
So,
I might actually have a friend that might be there. I won't, since I haven't had their permission to talk about them on the podcast. I'll just give you the name later. But
sounds like a plan.
yeah,
But yeah, so we got hooked up with these guys because me and two other people run a tournament here in Wade Park, actually.
nice. Well, where at?
The Moose Lodge.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that's close by. Yeah.
Exactly. So we've actually been going. This will be our 11th year that we're doing it, and it's a very different thing because one of the things that I think a lot of people don't like about 40k tournament setting is that it's really it's hardcore, right?
Yeah.
So it's like it's not about fun. It's not about like no, it really isn't.
You're
dude.
there
Like,
to dominate. And
these nerds want their plastic toy soldiers to be the number one plastic toy soldiers in the world, right? So I wasn't one of the original founders, but I got into it probably, I think it was 6 years ago. So I've been with it a pretty long time. But the original founders, they wanted to do beer and pretzels, is what they kind of did the whole thing off of, right? So at the Moose, 9 a.m., the bar opens up. And if people aren't like stumbling and falling over and having fun by the end of it, we're not doing our job. And it's kind of fun too because each year we do a specific theme off of something kind of pop culture-y.
Yep.
So last year we did all of our missions and games. We do custom ones. Was based off of Clue. The year before that we did Dune when Dune came out.
Nice.
The year before
Yeah.
that we did the Infinity War.
Ooh, okay.
Right. So we did Deadpool one year, Monty Python. One of the best years was Mad Max Fury Road. Where we actually bought silver cake spray.
No.
And when people wanted to use their special punch card abilities, they had to yell, "Witness me!" And then staff would come out and just absolutely spray people. It was great. Yeah, people were like, shiny and chrome all over the place. But anyways, so yeah, this year we are doing the Squid Games.
Ooh, okay,
So
cool.
all of our missions have some sort of tie into that. So like the first game is red light, green light.
Okay.
And like one of them's a tug of war, and that sort of thing like that. So, but yeah, the tournament is called Wafest, and Wa is basically, it just means war in Orc. And you kind of, whenever you yell it, it's one of those things that you got to like bellow at the top of your lungs, just whoa.
Exactly what I was thinking.
Exact. Yeah, Ernie had it. Ernie had it down. So, yeah, we decided to do that because like honestly, the Orcs in 40k are like the silliest thing. Like everything else is like super grimdark and serious.
Yeah.
But orcs, like, they believe shit like they believe red things go faster, and they believe it as a collective so much that when they paint their trucks red, they go faster. They believe stuff like
That's cool. That's cool lore for the world. Yeah.
So what are the other things too, like orc guns, if somebody else picks them up, like they just don't work. Or vehicles and things like that. They just believe it so strong that their collective like psychic consciousness makes these things work.
That's cool. I appreciate that.
So one of the funniest stories about orcs and 40k. Hopefully, I won't go on too much of a tangent out here, but I wanted to tell this one just because it's so silly. because I don't know if you guys know about 40K, but like I said, it's like dark. It's a dark setting. It's like Star Wars on crack, where all the children die. You know, you murder every race.
Ernie's giggling in the
Yeah,
background.
Ernie would just absolutely love this
Tell
setting.
me more.
So there's this thing or there's this battle where the Imperial Guard are fighting orcs, right? And the Imperial Guards are just like your basic UNI soldiers with laser guns, right? And you know they've been putting up this ridiculous fight, and so the orcs are actually starting to fear the humans, right? And so finally they just start running out of ammunition, right? And so their general commissar, I can't remember what it was, he just kind of like got this idea because he knew like about orc psyche and stuff like that. And so he comes up and he pulls up his pistol and he goes, bang, 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 pew, pew, bang, and starts making, you know, pew, pew, bang noises with his empty gun, right? And orcs start dropping dead, right? So all the rest of the squads and everything get up and this and they jump out with their empty rifles and pew, 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 bang, bang, bang. And just orcs are just like exploding and dying in droves, right? Just so weird. And so then they have this big cluster of these like real tough orcs that are coming towards them, and all of them are standing there, bang, bang, pew, 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 right? And so, you know, nothing's happening though, so everyone starts panicking or whatever. And this is actually like written lore and everything, which it sounds like I'm BSing. But so like as the orcs approach and get close enough, all the guardsmen hear, I'm a tank, 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 I'm a tank. So they were thinking they were tanks, and so their, you know, invisible mind bullets didn't work against them. Yeah, it's just it's really weird that there's that setting.
That's
it's
cool.
Just absolute like goofiness. And so yeah, long story short, without being too long-winded, because I already have been, that's why we chose our tournament to be orky themed, because we want it to be fun.
Yeah.
We want it to be stupid.
Nice.
We want it
like
to be about drinking and, you know, brawling and throwing down dice and
No,
stuff.
that's a great story.
That's awesome.
I was trying to figure out, I'm like, wait, is this lore? I'm like, and then you're like, it's a part of the lore. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, no, they're like
It's so silly, but it's great. I love it.
Like back in the 80s and early 90s when like the Rogue Trader first second editions, they took themselves much less seriously. So this is pretty old lore.
Yep.
But you know, you got to consider it canon.
Well, for sure. It's like, it's silly, but it's like gold. It's silly gold.
So good.
All right, Ernie, what are you nerding out to? Is it still Marvel?
Actually no. God of War. I'm playing God of War again.
Oh,
That's
is
right.
that
You got the PS5, right?
Yeah, I did.
Hell yeah.
I did. Uncle Sam gave me his money.
Ragnarok?
Well, I'm playing not the first one, but the first one on the next gen. So. The first
Oh,
one.
okay.
I do got Ragnarok, but I'm waiting. I want to beat the first one again. I'm just that kind of.
Nice. That's one of those games I played all the way through, and then I was borrowing it, so I had to give it back, and then I bought it, and I got to you played the new God of War?
I haven't. No.
Okay, there was like a scene. It was like a
Yeah.
gauntlet where you're going up like this old time elevator, and like literally every different type of bosses or different like type of enemies coming out. And I hate the Dark Elves, right? I freaking hate the Dark Elves because they just kill me every time. And so I got to that part, and I'm like, you know what? I'm done. I just watched the rest of it on YouTube.
Oh wow.
Well, I struggled like a couple days. Like I'd get into it, and I get really.
The walkthroughs?
No, just like I stopped playing it because I had to give it back, and then I bought it, but I just couldn't get myself to finish that game. So I just like I'm here for the story. Let's just see what the story is. I know I'm ashamed of it,
It's okay.
but I do really want to play Ragnarok. I just don't have a PS5. It's on the buy list.
Yeah.
Oh, another plug, or actually just Small World. I think I actually sent you something from Flash Kits. It was the God of War one with Atreus.
You did.
Yeah, so you actually have seen them before,
I
Ernie.
did,
Yeah, he has a
Nice.
God of War one, and it's.
I'll go watch it.
It's pretty funny.
Nice. All right, for me, again, still Minecraft. I'm just like addicted to it. Been watching heavily Mandalorian.
Okay.
Got up to season 2. Was supposed to watch the Boba Fett 2.5 Mandalorian season. Have you guys watched Mandalorian at all?
I watched the first 2 seasons of Mando.
Have you watched Boba Fett then?
No.
Okay, so you're not caught up.
No.
There's like 3 episodes that are necessary for the next season.
Okay, so you have to watch.
At least one.
You have to watch the book first, the Book of Boba Fett.
The first
Pretty
couple,
much.
the first 4
Okay.
maybe skippable. It depends how much you care about Boba Fett. It's interesting. It's better when it becomes a Mandalorian show. which is really sad. There's literally a whole episode where they just Mandalorian. It's just Mandalorian 2.5. I'm like, why don't you just make this a Mandalorian? I don't know. I didn't get the.
Which is kind of sad that he kind of got pushed to the side because like Boba Fett, I feel is like the most beloved or one of the most beloved Star Wars characters out there.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I feel like Mando took Boba Fett's role. So like when Boba Fett became a show, it's like he couldn't be a bounty hunter because Mando's already doing literally that in his show. So he kind of took over the Jabba Hutt role, which is a little bit different. It's just not what we were expecting from Boba Fett.
Okay.
I mean, that's a Boba type of thing to do because like it wouldn't be on Disney Plus if like true Boba Fett lore and the things like the way he bounty hunted and stuff compared to Mando, like being all cute with Grogu and everything. Like it wouldn't fly on Disney Plus.
Probably not.
If they made it like to his character.
You finished Game of Thrones?
No, I stopped. We stopped at season 6.
Oh, good. Just stop there.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean I've already watched all of it. Sapphire watched every up to season 6, so we watched it all the way up again until season 6,
All right.
just to get caught up. We watched House of Dragons and was just really wanting to watch Game of Thrones because it's been a while, and I wanted to catch up on Mandalorian before season 3 came out, so we switched to that. But I did tell her, like, hey, if you want to just stop here, anything you come up with, it's going to be better than what actually happened. I do think the story of Game of Thrones, like the finale, is great. I just feel like the execution's bad because it should have took 4 seasons, not 2 seasons.
I think it's bad because George didn't write it.
Yeah, that too.
This is pretty much.
I think this is what he wanted to do, but they're like, hey, we want to end this in 2 seasons.
Yeah,
like,
we got stuff that
and we want to do it with 13 episodes. What? So
I think they're just ready to be done.
oh, they were, and then they lost their Star Wars trilogy. I think that's what happened. I don't know. All right, move on to the next one. I still haven't figured out the trick how to do this, but let's. All right, now it's time for a news quickie. Oh yeah. All right, time for a news quickie. First news, this is more for Ernie. Luis was never part of the third Ant-Man movie. Peyton Reed just talked about the new Ant-Man movie and talked about why some of the newer characters were in it. It was always a Quantumanium story with Kang the Conqueror. Luis is not into it, or not in it, sadly. He's like the best side character. Who really, he should have been part of the Endgame. He should have recapped everything.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I never even thought of that. That would have been good.
Like, we needed him to, like, just recap somebody. Like, hey, this is what happened. Like, him and Captain Marvel, like, hey, this is what happened on Earth since you're gone. And then recapped everything. It would have been perfect.
Gold. Yeah,
It would have been.
Okay.
Alright, so that's the first one. Second one, Mortal Kombat 12.
Oh,
Coming
yeah.
late 2023.
Yep.
Get over here.
Exactly. Have you guys played the Mortal Kombat up to 11?
Yes. My girlfriend is infatuated with Mortal Kombat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she loves Mortal Kombat.
What's your thoughts to the last one, 11?
It's okay. Yeah.
A lot of praise. A lot of people like that. Maybe not so much story, even though the story is interesting, but definitely more so like the amount of like stuff you can do in that game.
Fair. To be honest, I never really got into Mortal Kombat. To keep the nostalgia, I always liked Tekken.
Okay.
Tekken and Soul Calibur.
Nice.
So always my fighting
I did like the newer movie that came out. Was it like 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it good?
Yeah, it was actually. Yeah, I thought it was good.
I put it in the 2 category.
Really?
I did.
Huh.
I might have to rewatch it. I was kind of disappointed because I thought it would be a little bit better. I thought the Mortal Kombat lore could definitely use some good. Like, I feel like somebody can make a great movie out of it, but no one really has made a great movie.
See, I'm like, maybe it was better for me because I'm not a huge MK player.
Okay.
Like, basically, my memory of Mortal Kombat is playing it on an arcade in in the pizza place in my hometown or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like any of the newer ones I haven't played. I'm not really a huge fighting game guy, anyways.
Fair.
So, but
Sam, I've only really gotten into Mortal Kombat. I really like 9. That's probably my favorite game. Though 9 is the one where they like kind of went back in time and redid the first 3 games. And they switched up a bunch of the story, and I just really enjoyed that because they brought a lot of the classic characters back on top of adding new ones as well.
yeah, see, I think when I watch movies that are based off games or series or something like that, and I don't know what it is, I always feel like people are like, God, that's just a trash thing. Like Death Note when it came out on Netflix, I was like, hey, because I never watched the anime and I knew nothing about it. And so I was like,
Yeah.
it wasn't that bad. And all my buddies are like, oh my God, what is wrong with you? And like, I'm like, I don't know. I never watched the show. Maybe it's one of those things.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Actually, so I have this, but it's more. I read a book, The Shining.
Okay.
So I've never prior to reading the book, I've never watched The Shining. My parents were never really into like horror or really into like classical movies. Watched a lot of Disney, so I never watched The Shining. And I was really into Stephen King at this time, so I'm like, hey, since I'm reading The Shining, I'm gonna read The Shining and then I'm gonna watch the movie. And the movie is like universally appraised. I fucking hated that movie after I first watched it because it's so different from the books. There's the lore of the books is so much more, whereas the movie is more visually stunning, but it doesn't really quite explain the lore. So I was very disappointed, especially like the ending. I didn't really care for it. And then Doctor Sleep came out, which is the sequel to The Shining, and that one, I really liked that movie because it took the lore of the books, but also added the events of the first movie. And then rewatching The Shining now the second time with the book being like a decade old in my brain, at least memory-wise, I actually do appreciate the movie a lot more now. Like the second viewing. The first one, though, freaking hate it because I'm comparing it to the book.
That movie,
All right,
that
and
movie
that was
scared the hell out of me when I was a kid. The Shining, the little dead lady in the bathtub, man.
Oh,
I couldn't open up a shower for like a month.
I mean, imagine going down to an old hotel and there's like two twins. There's just like two little girls.
Come and play with us. No.
Speaking of, we're going to segue into this. Speaking of adaptations to TV shows or like taking one medium to another, you're telling me that you're caught up with Last of Us.
Yeah. Yep.
And what are your overall thoughts?
So I'm actually kind of liking where they're going with it because they're not changing major plot or major points in there much.
Yeah.
They're basically like expanding on that. So you guys all pretty much caught up
I
for the
haven't
most.
watched it yet.
You haven't watched it at all. So basically, like right when they first get out of there, you guys in the game, you get to Pittsburgh, and you basically fight these nameless survivors, right?
Yeah, I think they're called maybe the Hunters.
Yeah, right. And so there's really not much like lore besides them just being the generic video game baddies. So basically, like they take that, they switch it to Kansas City, and they actually give them a story, which is fine by me because like it wasn't touched on the game, but it's still like the same path that Ellie and Joel are taking and everything like that.
I compared it to What If Doctor Strange, where there's fixed points in time that just need to happen.
Yes.
And I feel like this show has this fixed points where anyone who's played the game, we know exactly what's coming, but in between those fixed points, we're like, we don't know what's going to happen in between these fixed points. We don't know how they're going to get there, but we know where they're going.
Right.
And I think it's such a thrilling experience because like the fixed points are so great in the game, where like you're looking forward to it. But everything in between, there's like a little bit more information, a little bit more new stuff to the lore, how the fungus works, how it was spread, where it first started, Jakarta being the first place it was started. Though like what's in the show isn't quite lore into the game, it's still great information to kind of just when we do play the game, it's like, oh, this is kind of what happened in the background. So I do really appreciate that.
Yeah, there's two things that I need them to do right. One, Ellie freaking out when she sees giraffes. That has to be like the most heart. That has to be the most heart-warming scene ever. And then the whole thing with the cannibal child predator, thing.
Yeah.
That they need to do that right too, because that's like such a creepy, pivotal part, and it shows like Ellie like becoming like her own like strong, independent person without Joel. Because I think that's when Joel is injured.
Yeah.
And she's kind of like,
They kidnapped him?
yeah. No, I think that's when he like.
Wait, did you play the game?
Yeah, I played the game.
Oh, okay.
I think that's when he impales himself in the college, and then he's like sitting there, and she has to go find food, and then I think she gets captured by the cannibals, right?
Well, they work together, so like they leave to. I think they capture her after she walks with him, if I remember correctly.
But yeah, just that whole thing where like those conversations that I don't remember the character's name, but like the leader of those guys,
I think it's Dave or David.
Yeah, they're just creepy and good, and it's like that's something I want to see.
I believe Nathan Drake was the voice of David too,
nice.
which is a really cool Naughty Dog reference with Troy Baker being the lead and then Nathan Drake being the creepy sociopath,
Cannibal
cannibal.
pedophile.
Yeah,
He's
possible pedophile.
They implied it pretty heavily.
It was pretty.
It was
yeah,
pretty implied. And it's the end of the world. I mean, everyone's going to be...
that's fair.
Their morals are out the window.
So my buddy, we were just discussing this last night for the episode for Kin, and we were talking. He's not convinced that he wasn't convinced that there was going to be drafts.
Oh, they're better.
I think that's what everyone
Not
thinks.
them,
I'm
I'm
pretty sure that's a fixed point that we're going to see. Plus, we saw monkeys in
Some
Kin.
monkeys.
I'm like, if we saw monkeys, we're getting drafts. It's just going to happen.
They got it.
I don't care if they're CG giraffes. I don't care if they're, like stick puppet giraffe heads or something.
Yeah.
They just better be there.
Yeah. I agree.
So I have other questions I want to get into, but it's more spoilerific, so we're going to skip it.
Oh yeah, we can't spoil it for Mr. Ernie.
Well,
over
I
here.
don't want to spoil it for Ernie or anyone else listening. Who,
all you listeners
It
out
ain't
there.
about me, it's about the listeners.
Yeah.
he's played the game.
Yeah, I played the game. I know.
All right.
Everyone dies.
So, moving on to the next one. I'm going to skip around here what I have written. Dungeons and Dragons trailer. Have you watched it yet?
The trailer, yes.
Okay. What are your thoughts on the trailer? Since you're a big D&D guy.
So yeah, I watched the original ones, and then honestly, I was on the toilet before I came here, and I watched the new one. So I was like,
Wait,
"Ah,
is there like a brand new one?
no, the month ago one that came out.
Oh,
for
okay,
Super Bowl time
yep.
or whatever. But I'm talking like I was following it since the original. So no, I was picking parts of that or picking things of that apart. Number one, Michelle Rodriguez. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know. She's so typecast. And
She is.
I think she's a terrible actress.
She's the warrior, right?
Yeah.
I like how
Warrior
they-
Barbarian
Oh, Barbarian, yeah.
or something like that. I can't tell exactly.
She
I mean,
plays her one cast, or one typecast.
she
well.
does her typecast. I mean, she really does. Space Marine / whatever it has to be.
Space Marine. Isn't she she's in Fast and Furious, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Tough woman, yeah.
Yeah, she's the tough lady.
I think was she in SWAT too?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was in Resident Evil, the first one, as well. She played a generic female Space Marine soldier thing.
I was wondering where that reference was. I haven't watched Resident Evil.
Yeah, I mean it. Yeah, but yeah, no. So overall, the things that I kind of liked about that, they did a little bit of fan service. I think like there's a couple times where I'm like, oh, cool, like where they like basically teleport through the floor. I'm like, oh, sweet, it's dimensional door.
Yeah.
So like there's somebody coming from that's played D&D. They have a lot of fan service in there.
Well, I got that sense when I watched the trailer. I'm like, I don't understand this, but I'm getting the hints that there's a lot of fan service in it, and it's played off in like a very silly way. Like it reminds me of like a D&D game that people are playing.
Yes. So, there's a lot of like hardcore nerds out there that apparently were all upset about it because they were breaking down the trailer into like basically like book references of the
Yeah.
game, right? So like in one of the early trailers, the druid wild shifts. They change into this owl bear, which is just a big ass bear that has like an owl head and everything like that. And like I just remember nerds on the forums like, you can't wild shift into an owl bear in 5th edition. That's a combat rating 4 monster, and you can only wild blah 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 blah. Just like absolutely losing their minds. And so I was like, I'm not like that. I'm coming to it with open arms.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that it's going to be good.
I'm hoping it's at least a love letter to the fans of D&D, and it does look that way.
What I would highly recommend to you guys if you want a good D&D like video, movie media is watch Legend of Vox Machina on Amazon Prime. So have you guys heard of Critical Role before?
You'll like my friend Moser.
Okay.
He was on the pilot episode.
So basically they took one of their stories and they turned it into a fully animated TV series or whatever. And it's definitely got a D&D feel to it. So I highly recommend that. If you guys want to like get into like just kind of what the feel of general D&D is, watch that. Season 2 just came out. So it's on Prime.
You're literally the second guest who's pitched this show.
Oh, Vox Machina. It's good. It's really good. It reminds me of like I could see all 5 of those guys like sitting around playing this game and just this shit happening.
I'm gonna have to watch this. I'm gonna have to watch this
You
show
really
now.
do.
It's gonna have to be a thing before I get in this movie. I'm gonna have to watch this movie too.
Hey,
Just-
a couple episodes from now, recap of Vox Machina season 2 and 1 or something.
and Dungeons and Dragons. I think that's coming out March 10th.
March. Yep.
Yeah. For sure. Or I don't have to do it. All right. So before we get into video game nostalgia, I want to talk about your new Forge.
All right, cool.
I don't have much more questions. You just want to describe
This is definitely an infancy stage. So I am in the process of making a blacksmithing forge, primarily for bladesmithing.
Nice.
Oddly enough, speaking of video game nostalgia, it was Ultima Online that like got me like super interested in blacksmithing because they had like a really intense crafting system and just everything about it. And I was like, God, I need to learn that. And then Forge and Fire came out on the History Channel, and it was all over from there. I watched like all 8-9 seasons of it or whatever.
It's like I'm hooked.
And it's like I gotta do it. So it's kind of this fun, like almost like family ties thing to me too, because all the pieces that I've put together so far all have some sort of family connection, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So like the 2 anvils that I got, my 3 stepkids, their grandpa was a farrier.
Okay.
And so he had an anvil, and it was just sitting in their old barn rusting. And I was like, hey, you guys don't want that? You just want to ask your dad if I can have it?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, man, take it. So they brought that over.
Cool.
My 2 100-gallon propane tanks that I'll need for running the forge are from my mom's because she just switched to natural gas instead of propane because that shit's expensive.
Yeah.
So those things are from her. And then just this Christmas, the stepkids again bought me the actual propane forge. So
That's awesome.
I've got like just bits of the whole family in there. So my idea is just right now, I don't really plan on making a living or career out of it.
Yeah.
I want to make swords. I want to make knives.
Hey,
I want to make cool weapons.
Whenever you master your craft and start doing commissions, I think Don't Evolve Me needs a sword.
Yeah, I think so.
I would love a shield.
A shield.
Yeah, just a little shield.
Oddly enough, most shields are made out of metal, though. It's weird.
Are you like wanting like a Captain America shield?
I mean, I could make it. I mean, eventually I'm going to
that would be so cool. That would be cool.
It would be cool. All right.
Maybe that's what we need. Good
shit.
ideas.
Hang it over there or something.
Oh no, that's gonna be filled all of comics.
Oh, yeah.
It just costs so much to. Yeah, it's like $40 just to get 10 of these cases, and then the Velcro itself too is like $10 per 12.
Maybe a Mjolnir. Maybe we need to make a Mjolnir.
Ooh, yeah.
That'd be sick. I mean, I probably could hammer a square block and call it good.
There you go.
All right, so let's get into it. Video game love or video game nostalgia. What do you think? First love right away. First love for video games. How would you get hooked in?
I mean, if we're going from the very beginning, it was my older cousins. She had the Nintendo Entertainment System, NES, baby.
Yeah.
And so she also had a PC. And so my 2 first video games that I ever played are completely different.
Yeah.
It was obviously Mario Brothers.
Yep.
Original one with Duck Hunter and everything. And then Doom. She had Doom on Windows for Windows 95.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember Doom.
So that's how it first started. My first system ever was the Genesis. And honestly, I can't actually tell you. They weren't really that like memorable games in the Genesis for me. My first like video game nostalgia love is the 64, Nintendo 64.
Yep.
Ocarina of Time.
That's the one I sadly never got into at the time.
It's such
I played it. It's just I haven't got into it at the time. I wanted to. My friend borrowed me the game. I never had the cartridge that you needed to play the game.
Sure.
And I was really disappointed when I found that out.
Obviously, I'm sure all of us played GoldenEye.
Yep.
Speaking of Oddjob, he's right there.
Yeah,
on the table.
Oddjob's on the table.
Cheating bastards.
It's so great just throwing hats. You don't have to worry about shooting anyone. Just like, whew.
Yeah. Chuck hats at people.
Who throws a shoe? Wrong movie.
Austin Powers.
It's
referenced.
It's based off.
It's Oddjob. He throws shoes instead of hats.
I think it's a little bit funny.
Yeah, I love Austin Powers.
It's so great.
Star Fox. Favorite platformer of all times is Banjo and Kazooie on the 64. So, are you guys like Final Fantasy players?
Used to be.
Used to be.
Never got into it.
Okay. So about the same time, my parents separated. I was about 11 or 12, And so I had the 64 at my mom's, and then at my dad's, I like basically convinced him like I need a PlayStation, Dad.
Yeah.
You know, love me. Be the better parent in this divorce, Father. I was a terrible manipulative child, but anyways,
You used it to your advantage.
oh yeah, no, for sure, the smart kid.
Yes.
But yeah, one of the first games I got for that was Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely,
Nice.
and that got me hooked, like
Yeah.
on JRPGs and kind of that style of stuff like that. So, for the PlayStation, definitely Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9. Metal Gear Solid,
Yes.
Yep.
really classic.
What was the first Metal Gear Solid game? Like the first one?
Not the one for the PS. Metal Gear Solid for the PS1,
Okay.
because they had a NES version that I think was just
Yeah.
called Metal Gear,
Yep.
and then Metal Gear Solid was the first one that I ever played.
Nice. My first Metal Gear Solid experience was 2.
Okay.
And I know there's a lot of controversy at the time, and I'm like, I don't understand all the controversy. I like Raiden. It's one of those, if you don't know Snake, you're fine with Raiden. But if you know Snake, you're like, the fuck is this?
Who's this weeb nerd over here? You're not Snake. Why aren't you smoking?
Ernie, you want to jump in with your first video game love?
Yeah. Well, okay, my very, very first video game I ever played was on the Game Boy. I played Jeopardy. That was the first one I ever played. And then I finally got a. Funny you said that before.
Jeopardy of all games.
I know, random, right?
Yeah.
Okay, then my first console was an N64, and my first game I credit N64 because Star Fox was the first game I ever beat.
Yeah, boy.
So that one's
Nice.
in my soul. So Star Fox, start with Star Fox. Got a Dreamcast, played Sonic for a little bit, and then let's see, I got the PlayStation modes, mode lawns all summer to get the PS2. You guys remember Ace Combat?
Oh hell yeah! I love
Yeah.
those. I love that series.
Yeah.
One of my favorite series, actually.
Ace Combat, played that. Metal Gear, played that. Metal Gear.
Metal Gear.
Yeah.
So my story is a lot like yours, Tom. I first started with the NES, Super Mario Bros. This is my first memory of video games. My
Yep.
dad, I just remember he was playing it. And my dad is weird because he's not a huge culture guy, but he got into video games. And like I never thought, like I don't think of him as a video game player, but he's the one who got me into it. So he was playing Super Mario Brothers, and I just remember just watching him play and just enjoying it. So that was my first real memory. My first console was like you, the Sega Genesis, and I vividly remember me going to, I don't remember if it was GameStop or if it was EB Games, but it was, I remember exactly, or it was like the exact, I know exactly where the location is, kind of by Godfather's Pizza. In that little strip mall. If you guys aren't from St. Cloud, you won't know. But it was, I remember going there, and the two games we picked out, I picked out Sonic, because I absolutely loved Sonic at the time, even more than Mario, for some reason. So I got Sonic 3D Blast, of all the Sonic games. I don't know why I picked that one.
I had Sonic Pinball. I didn't actually own a real Sonic game. I had Sonic Pinball.
That explains why you don't have any memorable
Because
Genesis
it was
games.
It was that in James Pond, where you were a fish secret agent that blew bubbles.
Well, I've never heard of that.
We'll have to look it up later. It's great.
My dad picked a game. I believe he picked it. He picked Double Dragon, which
Okay.
I feel like for a 6-7-year-old kid, I don't know if that's the first one, because you go through this whole game with his two brothers and you fight. You save the love interest at the end, but at the end of the game you have to fight each other for the lady's hand, and you have to kill the other person. So my dad always got the lady because I couldn't beat him. So that was my first console. Then I forget what was first, the PlayStation or the Nintendo 64. I kind of got them both around the same time because I really was into video games. The first console I saved up though and bought for myself was the Game Boy Color with Pokemon Yellow. Was really into Pokemon. And then eventually I went backwards about Pokemon Red. First starter chosen was Squirtle, which is why he's on here, and that's why Knuckles is on the table. Should be Sonic, but first video game love.
Yeah, Charmander, man. If we're talking Gen 1 originals.
Squirtle. That's all right. So Sapphire will come up here and defend Bulbasaur. Well, we got all three.
I mean, there's going to be a fight in here pretty soon, it sounds like.
So, yeah, Nintendo 64 got really into. Super Mario 64 was one of my favorites. GoldenEye is the game that all my cousins played. For PlayStation, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro. Those are the two loves. And then over time, my parents were together, so I couldn't manipulate them. So, so I saved up for a PlayStation 2. And my dad was like, hey, hold on. I did some research on the internet. You should wait until a couple months before the PlayStation conference comes. The price always go down. And I'm like, I hated the fact that I had to wait like 2 months for it to be a little bit cheaper. But we got it for like $50 cheaper, so it saved me time, I guess. I don't know. I wanted it now. I was a ADHD kid. I wanted it now.
I want it now.
So yeah, first video games. That's the first love. I don't really know what to go with next. I feel like this will be longer.
Are we still talking? We're still just talking general video games, right?
Yeah. Anyone want to jump in?
Favorite video game?
Ooh.
You can't.
You can give me like a top 3.
That is hard.
That's so much.
I am not prepared for this.
All right. Oh, did you had some other stuff on the outline, didn't you?
Oh yeah. I mean,
Okay.
we have. I was really hoping that there'd be some Skyrim, Elder Scrolls news.
Well, okay. So we were talking first loves.
Yeah,
now. I mean,
was
we
saying,
could. I had much. We can. Keep.
Oh, yeah, let's keep going. All right, first loves.
All right. So what was after PlayStation, first loves on the PS2. What was that? That was when the Bouncer came out. That was like their flagship game. Do you guys? Did anybody play
Bouncer?
that? The Bouncer.
I don't recall.
It was like a pseudo fighting brawler game, but
Okay.
it was like their main it was like one of their like launch titles. That was a PS2 exclusive. That was a lot of fun. But I mean, sticking with Final Fantasy, obviously, Final Fantasy X was probably their most like notable game.
Kingdom Hearts, man? Sorry.
You know, I didn't play Kingdom Hearts actually, but my buddies did. And you know, they had all the Square Enix now, you know, references and everything like that, which was super cool. But like, I could never get down with the Disney vibe.
No.
That's
Along
fair.
with that, like, I'm just like, you know, dude, you can't just like put Sephiroth in there, like
Yeah.
this big hardcore like dude that murders people with fucking Goofy.
Yeah,
Whoa, come on, Sephiroth. What you want to
As a
do?
kid, though, now that I'm older, I agree with that. But now I was a kid, I love that shit.
But yeah, Final Fantasy X. That was a great game. I don't even know how many hours I sunk into that. So they had a little side game that was Blitzball, which was basically like soccer.
I never played it, but I heard so much about
Soccer underwater, basically.
Okay.
It's like underwater soccer type of thing. And I think just in Blitzball, I had like 40 hours into just
Dang.
playing Blitzball.
Yeah.
And, you know, like 250 hours into the game and still didn't beat all the super hard baddies and things like that. Who mentioned, Ernie, did you say Ace Combat or was that Jake? That was,
it. That was Ernie.
yeah, Ace Combat games, like I played the crap out of those. Next Generation after that is really when like,
That's when it took off.
yeah, that's when it took off and like really good RPGs came out. Well, actually, I take that back. So about the same time that I was always a PlayStation fanboy. My buddies all had Xboxes, and so this was my first Elder Scrolls, you know, introduction was Morrowind, right? Did you guys play Morrowind at all?
I wish I was introduced to Elder Scrolls
I started with
Morrowind.
Oblivion.
Okay,
I
so
started Skyrim. I'm
you
late bloomer.
guys will not understand the pain that was Morrowind. So
All right,
you know,
explain it.
All right. Yeah, we got to sit up in the chair for this one, right? So it was a very old school like style of RPG, right? So you know, Oblivion and stuff like that. You get a quest. It pops up as a marker. You
Yep.
run straight to it. You know, it brings you to it. Whatever, right?
Yep.
And also like the baddies level with you, so you're never gonna like go someplace that you can't die.
Yeah.
Like Morrowind, the first cave that you come across after leaving, you can go through and you're like, I'm like, oh, this is sweet. You know, I'm killing all these bandits and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the dungeon, there is this big fuck off barbarian with a hammer, and you cannot beat him until you're like level 15. And I beat my head against the concrete trying to do this, forever, and it never happened. But like you'd accidentally wander into some like Daedric ruin or something like that, and there was stuff that was like level 40 that you like just come up and just
Yikes.
absolutely gank you, right? And so like I said, there was no
Is it like Skyrim where you're a low level player? Like, hey, I'm going to take on this giant, and you get thrown in the sky.
yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah. So there was also like, there was not that heads up display system, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not even kidding like when I describe this. So like you'd get a quest and it would be like travel south from Belmora across the river until you hit the rock that looks like a turtle. Take a right and climb up the mountain, and you will find so-and-so cave where you're supposed to fight this bandit.
It's so realistic.
No, it's like you had to pull up your journal entries and like backtrack and do all this stuff. There was so much stuff that I couldn't even figure out about it that it was just like internet time. Like,
well, there is a really whole trend going on the internet against mini maps. They're too powerful.
They definitely
gives way too much information. And I agree. I've been one of the games I'm playing is Star Wars Battlefront 2. And there's like this versus mode, and they have the mini map on it that tells you exactly where the other character is that you have to fight. And I'm like, that's lame. I want the element of surprise here. I'm like, get rid of this mini map. Too much information. Mm-hmm. Just the recent example that I have. I gotta play more video games.
So honestly, and then if we're going back to about that same time, early '90s too, I was super into Ultima Online. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that.
I've heard of Ultima. I haven't played it.
So like, think WoW. But like the grandfather of it, right?
Yeah.
So this was all stuff where like, you had your character on there. Like there was no voice chats back in the day. Everything you had to type and it would pop up above your character's head. It was like this weird like overhead 2D like thing like that. And again, nothing with any of the frills of modern gaming that people are used to, right?
Yeah.
So your character gets killed, right? You spend all this gold and stuff on, some sweet plate mail or chain mail or whatever. You go fight some monsters, you get ganked because you suck at it, and it's a really hard game. And then you die. So when you die, you become a ghost, and you have to run around to find a random NPC. There were wandering healers, or you had to run all the way to a town and find the healers there, right? So this whole time while you're running around like that, your corpse has a timer on it, right?
Okay.
So if you're in like the good like non-PvP realm, your corpse can't be looted for like I think it's like 5 or 10 minutes.
Okay.
And then once you decay, then anybody can come and steal all of your stuff. Dang. So like literally, you pay like thousands of gold for stuff.
Yeah.
You get ganked by some monsters. You lose all the gold that you were collecting. You lose all your equipment. You go back to square one.
That's rough.
Yeah, imagine like these nerds in WoW that are like, farming like these super high level stuff for hours and hours and hours and hours, and then you screw up once. You die. The best part was, too, worst part than that was having caller ID. Or, call waiting. Because if you had call waiting, and this was dial-up days, if you had call waiting, it kicked you off the internet.
Oh,
and there were so many times where...
Do you die?
Oh, yeah. Well, no. So if you don't log off in town, your character stays there for like 3 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So there was lots of times where I was in the middle of a dungeon.
Yeah.
Grandma Lois calls. And I'm just like, oh, no! And of course, my mom, I'm like screaming at my mom. I'm like, Mom, get Grandma off the phone! And every time you come back, because I'm in the middle of a dungeon. And
that brings me back.
And like, oh man, it was so frustrating. And so finally I was like, Mom, we can disable, or like there was a way to disable it. Where it wouldn't kick you off the internet, so you could basically like turn off call waiting when you were dialed in, and that was man. But
I never played any hardcore games on the PC back when I was a kid, but I remember that feeling like I forget the two fish that were like the kids game. I forget the name of it. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? No? Okay, I will. Yeah. Anyway, there was this like game that I would be playing, or Backyard Sports with like Pablo and stuff, whatever that's called. So I'd be playing that. I'd be playing very simple games, but I know that feeling when someone calls, kicks you off. I'm like, I was playing.
Yeah, it was even worse because like it was terrible.
Yeah, but I can't imagine playing like a more of a hardcore game where like it's very time. Like the time restraint, yeah.
So the other thing that was cool about Ultima Online that was really crazy, and I think it was just like it's the grandfather of MMOs, right? And it is nothing like that. They have no quests or anything like that. Literally, you spawn in, you pick your starting stats of what you want to be, and you just go anywhere you want, and you do whatever you want.
That's cool.
Like you just run out in the woods and skin goats and sell leather. Like literally, there's no guidance in this game whatsoever. There's no main storyline.
I would love a game like that.
Yeah,
like a brand new game that comes out. There isn't like there is storylines you can come across, but you're not like this chosen one. Not like it's not like a Fallout or a Skyrim story. Like, oh, you're the God, what do they call in the Skyrim? What do they call you, the character?
The Dovahkiin?
Yeah, what's the English version?
Oh, the Dragonborn.
Yeah, I do this often. Dragonborn, you're the Dragonborn. You're like this myth, this legend.
Yeah,
you're
right.
this person. In Fallout 4, you have to find your son. I really would appreciate a game where you're just a commoner. You're someone who's like, you ever see One Punch Man?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, someone who becomes like One Punch Man.
Sure.
Over time, over doing the quests and stuff, you become this powerful person. But you can literally do anything you want. You can join whatever quests you want. You can join whatever clans you want. There is no actual overall goal.
Mm-hmm.
There is just a bunch of quests and storylines, and you kind of pick and choose your story from there.
Yeah. Yeah, the other thing that was crazy too, like, because again, this is back in the day before like PayPal and any like secure transits and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Ultima Online had an actual like digital real estate market, right? So they had so many like plots on the server on the map or whatever, where you could buy a house deed and then you'd like double click it and then you'd like would have to find stuff where there weren't any trees and it had to be a flat spot.
Yeah.
So there was finite amount of land where people could make houses.
Mm-hmm.
So in houses, then you could, store stuff. You could, just do all sorts, start guilds, all that sort of stuff like that. So like this was one of the first times where like actual like money was starting to be exchanged.
Mm-hmm.
And it was crazy because like you had a certain location. If you had a small house was just like this like 4x4 plot, right?
Yeah.
Normally it would cost you like 50,000 gold if it was just in the middle of nowhere, right? But they actually had it where like if it was a good spot where people traveled, you could make your own vendors there and sell equipment that you make and stuff like that. So that same house next to like one of the main gate portals, if you had that real estate, you were talking like hundreds and thousands up to $1 million for that same plot. So it was really cool. But I remember like hearing stories about people like selling stuff like via Western Union, like wiring money like $2,000 to some dude in across the world to buy a castle. So like people were like using real money to like buy castles in the game.
Wow.
It was crazy.
It's very, I feel like it's very much how the world is now, but like 20, 30 years
prior
on. Yeah. Dang. All right. No Elder Scrolls news for 6. It will get here when it gets here.
Yeah, Todd Howard, he's just going to keep recycling Skyrim, milk that cow till it's dry, baby.
Yeah, I am always tempted to play it again.
It's kind of funny too, you were talking about you just want to be like a normal guy. Actually, the last time I played Skyrim, I played a character that decided to absolutely just forget about being the Dragonborn and doing anything. Yeah. So you get to that first town after Helgen. You can stay at the Stormcloak dude's house. Yep. And like they have a mill there and they have a bunch of other stuff and like you can make money. Yeah. So I literally spent like 3 hours not fighting anything. Yep. Just like each day I would go out and like fish and like, then I'd go to the general store and buy myself lunch. Yeah. And, cut lumber and like just made like a gold a day. And it was, I don't know why, but it was like,
it was just refreshing
it was relaxing.
You're living your forging life.
Yeah. Yeah, it was basically like playing Minecraft on Skyrim. Yeah. It's literally what it was. Like, and I didn't do anything. I didn't even go to like the first thing with the dragon claw that the guy gives you for the quest.
Isn't it like those casual games just fun like
that?
Yeah,
it was great. I never went back to the game ever again, but it was great. I fished. I cut lumber.
Nice. See, my first playthrough of Skyrim, I didn't actually do the main storyline. I didn't finish it because I was not interested. I'm interested in like all the being an assassin, being part of the Thieves Guild,
Dark Brotherhood.
Man.
There you go. Dark Brotherhood.
I'm not even gonna try because I completely forgot the name of it. Or the Rebellion, either the Rebellion or the Empire. What side are you guys on?
Oh, Empire all the way.
Same. Racist bastards.
There's nothing to do with racism right there.
Huh? No, Stormcloaks.
Oh, I thought you said racist bastards.
Yeah, Stormcloaks.
Oh yeah, yes.
No, the Empire is, you're fighting like, tyranny, while the other ones are racist bastards. And my first time doing it, this is back when I was like still in high school, still very conservative. I went Stormcloaks, so I was like, fuck the man, fuck the Empire. And then, growing up, play throughs. I'm like, oh, this is what the Stormcloaks are about. Can I be neutral?
I feel like if you were really conservative, you would have gone with the Empire.
That's what I was.
There's like it's all like called, like government power. And,
No, it's the old the small town conservatism where you're just like, like fuck the man, like that type of person.
Got it. So yeah, like also the only reason is because like I am a Roman, so like I love Roman history, and the Empire is very much modeled after ancient Rome, right? Yeah. So like my first tattoo that I ever got was this one.
Oh. SPQR.
SPQR. So in Latin, it means Senatus Populus K Romani, which just means the Senate and people of Rome. So that was like everything that was like, cool. It was their brand. Like they had it on their, temples, and they had it on their banks. They had it on their coinage. It was the Senate and people of Rome. So
nice.
Yeah, but so yeah, that was why I like first playthrough was like Empire all the way. And also you think about like this sounds crazy, but think about the geopolitical outcome of this. So you disrupt Skyrim, which is the one place that is holding off the Thalmor. Yeah. So basically you're disrupting them, and then now the Thalmor are just going to come through, wipe out Skyrim, and then go through the rest of Cyrodiil. And I'm just like, because you guys are angry that they don't let you worship Talos or anymore or something like that. Like that. So it, like sometimes I think way too deep about video games, and I'm just like,
it's been a while since I explored the lore of Elder Scrolls, but yeah,
it's like
it's such an interesting world. Though
I should take into consideration the geopolitical climate of Cyrodiil to decide which side I'm going to side with. Let me adjust my monocle. Shit.
That's something I would think about too. Just the deepness. Like, how much does this affect the world? Is it better for the citizens of Skyrim? At my first playthrough, I was like, F it, fuck the man. But yeah, like, there's several. I think deeper about those things.
It's interesting you say that. You guys ever played Red Dead, the first one?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I didn't actually ever play it, but
no. Why? You didn't play some cowboys?
I don't like westerns. I hate country.
That's fair. I'm not really a Western person, but Red Dead 2.
I love Westerns.
I mean,
my grandma loved Westerns, so I watch Westerns a lot.
Honestly, just the fact of how much stuff you can do and how open world and how RPG-ish, I would probably take that thing to the dungeon and just make it my bitch.
Dude, I think I spent like hundreds of hours on Red Dead 2, and I mostly just played the main storyline.
But you remember, so you played the first one.
Yeah.
I remember at the end, you know how he gets basically just mauled at the end.
Spoiler! Oh, spoiler! What?
Did I get the button? Should I do it?
I need a
soundboard.
I would say, honestly, anybody that doesn't realize that... is it Marston on the first one? Yeah,
yeah.
Anybody that doesn't realize Marston gets ganked at the end of Red Dead.
Which is hilarious, because I told you it's one of our clients. Loves Red Dead. He's going through Red Dead right now, and I just don't have the heart to tell him. Because he loves Marston so much.
Marston's dead, buddy.
But anyway,
you'll try your hardest to save him, but you won't.
At the end, that all happens, and that messed me up for like a month. Like, legitimately, I thought about it way too hard. Like, what if I did this differently? And what if I did that? What if I did that? I didn't want Marston to die. What if I did this? So I feel that the thing about way too hard about video games. I'm like that.
That's why I really like BioWare games.
Yeah.
So Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3.
Bioshock?
No,
Bioshock.
Bioshock? No. I'm thinking like Dragon Age Origins, Dragon Age 2, Dragon Age Inquisition.
I'm a huge Mass Effect fan.
I love Mass Effect 2. So that's one of those games though that the little thing that you do like has some dire consequence back. Like and you're just like, oh whatever, it's arbitrary, you know.
Ashley.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait, Ashley or Kaden? Who'd you save?
I mean, Ashley was hot, so save Ashley.
Yeah, that's the same route.
I was a teenager, man.
I think that's my second playthrough. I think I saved Kaden because I was like, oh, Ashley racist. Kaden is.
Yeah, but she's hot.
Because we're not racist the whole time, man.
Yeah, I got older and then I didn't care about the hotness as much.
That's fair.
First playthrough though, yeah.
14 years old, man.
Yeah, that's how it was. First playthrough.
Biggest thing I loved about the Mass Effect games, is the continuation of your old save files to Mass Effect 2, and it actually like changed the outcome. Like if so and so you save this person, Kaden showed up in the planet or whatever, and like it was.
I did really like that. I was really sad because my second playthrough, or my second or third playthrough, when I rebought the PS4 like whole series. I had surgery, so I had about 4 to 5 weeks off. So I'm like, I need to play something. So that's what I played. High of Oxy playing Mass Effect is great. Not saying take, but if you're in that circumstance, I highly recommend.
When you're in pain, man, Oxy's great.
Yeah, so playing that with Mass Effect, I was really sad because Morlun died in my second game. I made a bad move. I forget exactly what I did. I think I sent the wrong person to do the wrong task, and Morlun was the first person who died. And I'm like, no, he's like my favorite character in the game.
I hated Jack, but like I had to replay the entire game because I didn't save everybody.
No,
I'm one of those guys. Like
Yeah.
I have to have like if there's things with alternate endings, I have to have the best ending.
Yeah.
So question for the group here: Paragon or Renegade?
Ooh.
Renegade for life.
See, I originally was.
Yeah.
I tried to do Paragon the first playthrough.
Yeah.
I was always a good guy, and then the second playthrough, I'm like, yeah, Renegade. It's more fun.
You know, something's really funny. Like all the games where you can be bad or good, and like they have those outcomes. Every time I play a male character, like I am Paragon, or I am, you know, the good karma and Fallout and stuff like that. I think I like because I'm a you know, as much as I say I'm a manipulative person, but that's just my parents when I was 12. Leave me alone.
I was gonna say, are you manipulating us, Tom?
Maybe.
You're doing a good job. I can't even tell.
Maybe. I don't know. My dad's basically a diagnosed narcissist, so but whatever. I probably could have some of those tendencies. I hope not, but either way. But like, yeah, I couldn't like being a guy and playing a guy character. Like I can't detach myself like that. So it was really funny. Like every time that I played an evil playthrough, I had to make a female character because it detached myself enough of it where I could do those shitty things and not like think like, oh, that's not what I would do, but like, okay, I'm playing a woman. I'm not a woman. Let's just do all these evil things because you gotta play both sides because it's fun.
Sense.
It changes the game.
Yeah, it does.
But it's just one of those real like weird idiosyncrasies that like my good characters were always dudes, my evil characters were always female.
I want to know if you guys do this too, because when I first play a game, my decisions are based off what I would do in real
Yes,
life.
and that's what it is. So I always make my first character always a human male.
Yep.
If like in Skyrim, you know, you can be an orc, you can be an Argonian, you can be a Khajiit.
Were you
always
a Nord?
Yeah, I was an Nord the first one.
Same.
So like some sort of human male because I always like make myself, and then I always base all my decisions on what I would actually do. So I mean, I guess deep down in my soul, I'm a Paragon. But then I make a random character that's not me, usually female, and you know, a dark elf or an Argonian. And I'm like, I can detach from that.
I'll be evil.
And then I'll be evil. So
how evil do you get in like those games where you can kill everybody?
Oh, I don't do evil mindless slaughter because I think that's dumb.
Yeah,
Like I don't just go into the town and butcher everybody for no reason. If they annoy me, I shoot them in the face. You know, I think like that.
I haven't done that. I started a game where I was an archer in Elder Scrolls, and then I got bored enough where I was like, all right, I'm going to start working on my swordsman. And I, at this point, completed everything, and that's where I started I'm just starting this town and just go at it because it's a fun challenge. But after like one town, I'm like, all right, I don't really want to do this like 10, 12, 13 more times.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people that play those games or those playthroughs like gotta murder everybody that you can, every character that's killed. You know,
I think it's worthy doing it once.
Yeah.
But if it's like every playthrough, it's like you're kind of just defeating the game.
The funny part too about Morrowind too, to bring that up again, things that are not player friendly.
Yeah.
You know how they used like in Skyrim and Oblivion, they make it so that you can't kill like key characters.
Yep.
You can kill key characters in Morrowind, and your entire game is fucked. Like it's done.
Yeah.
So it did give you a prompt. So like you murder somebody that's like a main quest giver.
Yep.
And it'll like it's this really vague message, but it's like you've never seen it before, and it just says like the twists of or like the threads of fate have been severed. Load to your most recent thing, or you will not be able to progress beyond this point. So like they do that. But they also like gave you the choice.
I like it. I like the choice.
You know, I'm just gonna murder this guy. He's kind of a douche canoe.
Yeah,
so
fuck fate.
Yeah, right. But yeah, so I mean, yeah.
All right. So I wrote this question down because I'm actually genuinely curious what you guys would say for this. What video game universe would you want to live in? You got to choose one.
One video game universe?
One video game universe. You can be the main character or you can be a character like NPC.
Problem with really good game universes is they're all brutal.
Yeah.
And I really wouldn't want to live in them.
Exactly.
I do have an answer for this, but I wanted to hear you guys' first.
Oh my god, that's tough.
I would want.
They all have thinking faces
I don't know,
on.
man.
Honestly?
They are a lot of them are brutal.
And all of them have giant spiders.
I would not mind
Ugh.
GTA
As an NPC or a player?
as a player.
As a player, it'd be fun. NPC would be terrifying.
Yeah.
There's just this madman walking around, just massacring everybody. And this is like the second day he's done it. Or, or later on, it's like, man, he's been doing this for 100 straight days, and they all try to stop him, but how does he keep coming back?
I would want to be in the Mass Effect universe during a non-Reaper cycle.
Ooh, I like that answer.
So everything's advanced. It's cool. It's
What's race?
futuristic. Human.
Human?
I think. Yeah. I don't know.
I would be really interested. What's the?
Nah, I'm gonna be a Krogan. I want four.
You want Krogan?
I want 4 testicles. Do you guys know that when they say you don't have the quads for that? Do you know what they're talking about?
They're talking about the 4 testicles.
They have,
I didn't.
Krogans have 4 balls. So when they're like, yeah, human, you don't got the quads for that.
Can I be a Krogan before the Genophage?
Oh yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's before the Reaper cycle.
Yeah.
What's the alien race? They're all like female bodies with the long hair, purple skin. I forget. It starts with an A.
yes, Asari.
Asari, yeah, the Asari. I think it would be an Asari. You live for 1,000 years. It's
Oh, you don't want to live for 1,000 years?
I probably will regret it after year 100, but
I mean, then maybe if I wasn't gonna be a human, I would be a Turian, because like they're a very like strong, proud warrior race.
Yeah.
And I feel like I always like the Spartans. I like the Romans.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate military tradition and power in that respect.
Yeah, I like your answer.
So was that Garrus Vakarian, right?
Yeah.
Is the main Turian that we have.
Oh, Garrus.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's favorite Turian. For reasons. Basically everyone's favorite companion, I feel like.
You can bang them, right?
Yeah.
Sweet.
You can. I think even if you're male, I think you can too, isn't that?
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the other thing about BioWare games.
It's a sex simulator, man.
The secret booty quest.
Yeah.
Really, I'm doing nothing. All my decisions are just so I can bang Miranda.
That was first playthrough, Miranda. Then I think I went the Asari, I forget her name.
I remember her too.
Yeah. Jack, yes, no?
I thought Jack was an asshole.
She is. Do you play Jack though? She's the first character you can get with in the second game,
No.
Mass Effect 2.
She's too thirsty. She's
Too
too
thirsty?
thirsty for that D. No, man.
So you told her no?
Yeah. Well, no,
Oh,
because I was banging Miranda.
Oh, there. I didn't. And then you couldn't Actually, I think my third playthrough, I went with Jack afterwards. I told her no, and then she became interest.
I always thought it was. I never did it, but I heard that if you romance, was it Tally?
Yeah.
She's the Quarian wears the mask. You have to romance her through all 3 games.
Yep.
And if you do it in the 3rd game, you actually get a picture. You see a picture of her without her mask on.
She was one of my which game version? She was one of my people that I romanced. I think it was Miranda in the second game, but I think in the 3rd game it became her. I worked on both of them. I don't remember how that works. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
So Mass Effect, that's a great answer. I did not even think of that.
Yeah.
Mass Effect. Are you still going with GTA?
I can't really think of anything else right now.
Red Dead? You can be a cowboy.
I don't want to know.
No, you don't want to die of syphilis and dysentery.
Right, no. God, I can't really think of anything else that would. Like you said, everything else is brutal. Mass Effect is a good one though. That's a
That's a good
answer.
one.
Fantasy, I would have to probably go with. No, I don't think. No, I wouldn't do The Witcher. I wouldn't do Skellig. I would probably do Thetis from Dragon Age.
Okay.
It's got a lot of just cool stuff.
All right.
It's like high fantasy.
All right, I got my answer. You guys want to take a guess?
Shoot.
Pokemon.
Nerd.
I mean,
I'm just kidding. With all the love. With all the love.
because it's one of those worlds that, like, you know, one, free healthcare for Pokemon.
True.
Yeah.
People? No.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I have no idea.
But you
Hey,
Animals will be taken care of.
but hey, if I need money, I'll just battle some like random 10-year-old on the street.
Yeah, take the cash.
Fair. Okay.
It's all fair and love of Pokemon. I don't know. It's just one of those worlds. I'm like, it's not as brutal. I get to live my dream of being a Pokemon catcher or Pokemon trainer. I don't know. It's just
Have
like
you ever seen the real life depictions of Pokemon though? Have you
Oh,
seen those
yeah.
AIs?
It's
When you ask
vicious.
AIs that to like make a real life Onix and stuff, they are terrifying looking.
Yeah.
And if you
Yeah.
think about it like from cute cartoony, and then you look at this, and I'm like, nope.
yeah, Beedrill.
Like look up a Haunter. An AI
A Haunter would be freaky.
It is.
Or a Gengar.
The AI Onix
Oh.
terrified me because like they made this cave and like he comes out of the cave and you're just like, that's a whole lot of nope rope right there.
Here's the thing, like Onyx is like trash when it comes to actual gameplay, but I feel like in real life, Onyx and Steelix would just be terrifying and
Yeah.
tough to beat. Like I thought Onyx was like, especially with Brock being like the first gym leader, I was like terrified of Onyx. And honestly, actually, this Pokemon Yellow is like the first hard game that I had to play because I did not know how to fuck to beat Brock. So all I had was a Pikachu, and I think I had like a Pidgey or something, and I did not understand it. Like it took me like months to even understand the concept, and I like the young gamer age was like,
What was the original weaknesses for rock type? Was it flying?
Grass and water.
grass, water, fighting.
Fighting.
So if you want, or if you go for the anime, water with electricity.
You're done. Unless your Pikachu is like level like 20 at that point.
Yeah, that's what you have to do. You have to grind, or you have to find a Mankey, which is what I learned. I eventually did. I found a Mankey, and I kicked Onyx's ass.
Yeah, because a tiny monkey beats 2-ton rock snake.
I guess it's video game logic.
That's
I like comparing the stats where it's like, hey, this is like one of the most powerful legendaries, and then here's a Krabby who hits harder than that. I forget which compared.
Sorry,
That's
random crabby noises.
It was good. It was good. All right. Should we get in the list? It's already been 12 minutes past 60.
I'm still good.
You still good, Ernie?
I'm gonna bounce in like 5 minutes or so, bro.
All right. Well, let's cut it then. Let's just talk about upcoming games that you guys are looking forward to. You can be games that you haven't played or games that are coming out soon.
It's not even been talked about any releases or trailers or anything.
Yeah.
But just the second part of the Final Fantasy VII remake.
Oh yeah.
Because like they stop it right at Midgar,
Yep.
and you still have 90% of the story after that.
Wait, there's not like any news whether or not Part 2 is coming out anytime
No,
soon?
it will come out.
Yeah.
It's just it's going to be intensive, and it'd probably be several years still.
Oh, that's disappointing.
Yeah, I mean,
You think they would have it like back to back, like at least a year apart at most?
it took it took like what was it, like 97 was the original release of it.
Yep.
It took them till 2021. So we're talking almost 25 years before they came out with a remake of it.
Mhm.
So they're gonna take their time.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, hey, 007 GoldenEye, they're finally getting a remake
Yeah.
and put on the Switch too as like the classic game.
Sure.
Yeah, those controls are wonky. I don't know how they're gonna do it. You guys try going back to GoldenEye? It's hard. You have to use the C buttons to like walk. It's weird.
Oh man. Oh.
Those C
Lord.
buttons, bring it back.
Jesus.
Games I'm looking forward to. I'm trying to. I think that's coming out. Pokemon DLC. There's news next week. By the time this episode drops, we'll have more news. So I'm pretty excited for that, especially if they have Kalos added to it. That'd be huge if they could do Kalos.
Cool.
Shoot. Spider-Man 2 at some point if I ever get a PS5.
So upcoming that are actually announced and release dates. Space Marine 2.
Space Marine 2?
It's a 40K game.
Oh, yep. Okay.
Did you guys either you play the first Space Marine?
No.
It's like a third-person hack and slash shooter, kind of like Gears. It reminded me a lot of Gears.
Okay.
In kind of that same vein of playstyle and everything like
Nice.
that. I would totally recommend looking that up. If you want an intro into 40K too, also Space Marine is like your most generic entry into that probably.
I feel like every game I'm looking forward to is like games that are like they're either announced they're on their way, or it's like it's coming eventually. It's just whenever we get to it. So like Last of Us Part 3, that would be a game I'm be super excited for. They're not working on it right now. Elder Scrolls 6, it'll come eventually. Fallout 5, that'll come out after Elder Scrolls 6. That's coming out. So yeah, those are like the games I'm looking forward to. Way in advance. I'm like into the single player RPG.
There is a kind of like Left 4 Dead style where you have a bunch of people versus just waves of enemies type of game for Starship Troopers. Like we're going way back in the day for that reference, but
that's such a great game.
But yeah, Starship Troopers, they're coming out with a first-person shooter for that, which like that was like one of the first like sci-fi movies that I saw. Again, convinced my dad.
Yeah.
And man, that shower scene, that was good stuff. You guys never saw Starship Troopers. Wow. See, it was classic sci-fi.
I have boundaries to my nerdiness, I guess.
It's not even nerdy. It's pretty like, it's got a cult following now. Yeah. But it was like a mainstream movie.
Okay. I'll check it out. Yeah. I got time. I'll check it
out. Tears of the Kingdom. You guys excited for that at all? No? No? You
might not even know what that is, honestly.
Legend of Zelda? Tears of the Kingdom?
Oh, I haven't played a Zelda game since Ocarina of Time.
Oh, really? Not even Breath of the Wild?
I just ended. I'm like Floyd Mayweather. I just retired at my pinnacle.
All you need at time, that's all you need.
Yep.
Oh, no. Breath of the Wild. You should... I highly recommend it. It's just not even like a Legend of Zelda game, just gaming in general, just the way the world works for Breath of the Wild. You don't have much direction. It's one of those games you just go out and you figure out where you can go, where you can't go. Sure. The enemies level up with you. It's one of those just explore the world and you'll find random things, and it's great. So I know a lot of people are like, it's not really a Legend of Zelda game. Like, no, it's just a gaming masterpiece. Like, when someone says Breath of the Wild is one of the greatest video games of all time, it's in that conversation. Okay. So, yeah, we can leave it here. Tom, thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Thanks for
there it is.
Letting me come
there
in.
It is. Ernie, thank you for coming too, to be the audience/guest person, second/audience/guest person to be on the show. So, yeah, this is it. This is Don't Involve Me. Host Jake Scherbing with Tom and Ernie. This was the Tom episode. All right, peace.
Thanks, guys.